At Arizona State University, we've made online education better, smarter, and more personalized so you can go further in your aspiring field.
I decided to pursue medicine once I realized that ASU did have the online program for biological sciences. You're still required to learn the same curriculum. You're still being tested on the same content that anyone would be tested on in person. The comprehensiveness of the program prepared me so well for medical school.
Explore over 350 plus programs at asuonline.asu.edu.
Okay, so picture this for a second. You have access to the smartest, fastest, most tireless research assistant in the world.
Right.
You've got a huge presentation coming up, maybe a market entry strategy, or you need a killer name for a new product. So you ask your assistant for a fresh idea, and boom, seconds later, it gives you something incredibly polished.
Articulate. Makes sense.
Totally. You're thrilled. You feel like a genius. But what you don't know is that down the street, your biggest competitor just asked their assistant the exact same question.
And they got the exact same answer.
Exactly.
And look, that scenario isn't hypothetical anymore. We are looking at a massive analysis today. 26,000 real-world user queries across more than 70 different language models. And the data, it revealed a hidden crisis.
26,000 queries. That is a huge data set. And welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're looking at a fascinating and frankly kind of worrying paper titled The Artificial Hivemind, Navigating AI Homogenization in Work Design.
It's a bit of a wake-up call. We tend to think of AI as this, limitless, creative partner, right? A tool that expands our horizons.
Of course.
But the core tension in this research suggests the opposite might be happening. It suggests AI could be creating a trap of sameness.
A trap of sameness, that sounds ominous. But I have to push back a little right at the start here.
Go for it.
Usually when I log on to these tools, I feel like I have infinite options. I can ask for a sonnet, a Python script, a recipe for vegan lasagna. It feels limitless. So how can that be a trap?
That's the paradox. It feels infinite because the language is so fluent, the grammar is perfect, the vocabulary is vast. But the researchers have coined a term for what's actually happening underneath all that.
Which is?
The artificial hive mind.
Okay, let's unpack that. The hive mind. It sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie where everyone, loses their free will and joins the collective.
It's not quite the Borg.
Okay, good.
But in a market context, it might be just as dangerous. The mission of this deep dive is to explore this invisible erosion of creative diversity. We need to understand how AI is subtly making our ideas look like everyone else's.
And more importantly, how to stop it.
Exactly. We need to look at the playbook this research provides, because the argument here is that if we don't, your team might literally forget how to think for themselves.
That is a bold claim. So, okay, let's get into the mechanics. How does this hive mind actually work? Because surely if I ask a chatbot to write a poem about a toaster, and you ask it, they won't be verbatim identical, right?
No.
There's some randomness.
Right, they won't be verbatim. That randomness, they call it the temperature setting in the models that prevents it. But the researchers identify two types of sameness. The first is pretty straightforward. It's called intramodel repetition.
Intramodel, so within the same model.
Exactly. That's you using the same bot, asking for variations, and just getting the same theme over and over again.
Got it. So that's like asking for a logo design, not liking it, asking for 10 more, and just getting 10 slightly different versions of the same blue swoosh.
Exactly. It's annoying, but it's manageable because you can see it happening. You know you're stuck in a rut. But the second type, that's the dangerous one. Intermodal convergence.
Intermodal convergence. Okay, break that down for us.
So this is where different employees, maybe even at different companies, are using completely different AI platforms. Maybe one uses a commercial tool like GPT, another uses an open source model like Llama.
Another uses Claude.
Right. And they still end up with the same core ideas.
Wait, hold on. If I'm using brand X AI and you're using brand Y, these are different companies. They have different tech, different engineers. Why on earth would we land on the same strategy?
That's the scary part. The research points out that despite all the branding, the underlying logic is converging, and this threat is invisible. In the old days of automation, if a robot made a mistake, it was obvious, it was clunky.
But modern AI sounds good. It tricks you with its confidence.
Precisely. The sentence structure is varied, the adjectives are different, but the underlying concept, it's identical. The research had this hilarious specific example of it. They called it the metaphor trap.
Oh, I saw this in the notes. This is the river of transformation,
yes,
right?
This was a perfect illustration. So a manager asks for a metaphor for organizational change. The AI suggests comparing the change to a river of transformation.
Which, to be fair, sounds lovely.
Yeah.
It's poetic. We must navigate the rapids to reach the calm waters. I would totally put that on a slide.
Sure, it's a perfectly serviceable metaphor, until you realize that 5 other managers in 5 other departments asking 5 different AI tools.
Also got the river of transformation.
Exactly.
So suddenly the whole company, or worse, the whole industry is talking about rivers. And everyone thinks they're being profound, but they're just echoing the same algorithm.
And it happens in high-stakes environments, too. The source mentions strategy teams brainstorming market entry. They found that different tools proposed conceptually identical frameworks. They just swapped out the adjectives. So one called it aggressive expansion, another called it rapid scaling, but the actual steps were exactly the same.
So back to my question from earlier. Why is this happening? If these models are trained on the whole internet, which is this messy, chaotic, diverse place, shouldn't they be full of weird, diverse ideas? Why does it all boil down to the same river?
That's the logical assumption. But the research identifies 3 technical root causes that, well, they strip that weirdness away. First is just the simple commonality of the training data.
Okay.
Most of these models, regardless of who makes them, they've effectively read the same books and scraped the same websites.
They all went to the same library and checked out the same bestsellers.
Pretty much. There's only one internet. But the second cause is more specific to how these models are built. Alignment techniques. Specifically something called RLHF.
I see that acronym everywhere. RLHF. That's just humans rating the AI's answers, right? Telling it good job or bad job.
Yeah. Yes. But think about what humans rate highly. In these huge training scenarios, humans prefer safe, clear, consensus-driven answers. We punish the AI when it says something weird or controversial or confusing. So the models are mathematically optimized to give the answer that is least likely to offend and most likely to be seen as correct by the average person.
So it's people pleaser.
Yeah.
It's the ultimate corporate politician. It doesn't want to rock the boat.
It is optimized for the average. It cuts off the tails of the distribution, the genius ideas, and the totally crazy ideas, and it just pushes everything to the fat center.
And what was the third cause?
The feedback loop. AI generates content. That content floods the internet, blog posts, LinkedIn articles, reports, and then future models scrape that content for their own training.
So we're training the models on their own output.
Yes, it's like a Xerox of a Xerox.
Yeah.
Eventually, the image just gets blurry and gray. It reinforces those dominant patterns until there's nothing else left.
Okay, so we have these polite, consensus-seeking robots reading their own diaries. But let's play devil's advocate for a second.
Please.
If the AI gives me a solid, safe strategy, does it really matter if it's the same one my competitor got? I mean, maybe the river of transformation is actually a good metaphor. Maybe the consensus strategy is the right one.
If you just want to finish the slide deck and go home, maybe it doesn't matter. But if you want to survive as a business, yes, it absolutely matters. This brings us to the stakes. The paper argues this kills competitive advantage by destroying something called recombinant novelty.
Recombinant novelty. Okay, that sounds like a concept we need to define.
It comes from a researcher named Fleming, way back in 2001. And the idea is that real innovation isn't usually inventing a new color or a new element. It's taking existing blocks and snapping them together in a way nobody has seen before.
Like putting wheels on a suitcase. The wheels existed, the suitcase existed, but combining them was the genius move.
That's the perfect example. That's recombinant novelty.
Yeah.
But here's the problem. AI is trained on probability. It predicts the most likely next word. It suggests combinations that it's seen before a lot. So if everyone uses AI, you lose access to what a guy named Kaufman called the adjacent possible. You stop seeing those weird fringe combinations because the AI is constantly steering you back toward the center.
So we're all just building the same suitcases without wheels? Because the AI hasn't seen enough wheel suitcases in its training data to recommend it.
And it gets worse. The paper references Eisenhardt and Zborowski, who documented the illusion of choice.
The illusion of choice.
To make a good strategic decision, you need to look at genuinely different options.
Right. Option A needs to actually be distinct from option B. If they are both river metaphors, I haven't really made a choice.
Exactly. But if AI gives you 3 options that sound different but are conceptually the same, you get this false confidence. You think you've explored the landscape, but you've only looked at one hill from 3 slightly different angles.
And that is the Me Too strategy risk the paper talks about. If I rely on AI for my strategy, and you do too, we're just accidentally adopting the exact same plan. We're commoditizing ourselves.
Which is a disaster in business. You want differentiation. But the most insidious risk, the one, well, keeps me up at night, isn't about the output, it's about the people. The paper calls it human capital atrophy.
Atrophy? Like a muscle wasting away because you stopped going to the gym?
Precisely. Jeppesen and Lakhani showed that exposure to diverse problem-solving makes humans smarter. You get better by wrestling with difficult, messy problems.
And Ocasio pointed out that junior employees learn by osmosis, right? By seeing different styles of work.
Exactly. So now, imagine you're a junior strategist or a copywriter. If every single draft you see is generated by the same safe AI, you never see the messy process, you never see the weird, jagged, difficult ways of thinking, because the machine always smooths it out for you.
So your cognitive repertoire, your mental toolbox, it just shrinks. You literally forget how to struggle with an idea.
And this creates a new kind of groupthink. The paper references Giannis on this. And usually groupthink happens because of social pressure. You know, I'm afraid to disagree with you because you're the boss.
Right. I nod along to keep my job.
But here, it's not social pressure. It's algorithmic pressure. Everyone goes off to do their independent research, but their independent researcher is the same Hivemind. We all agree, not because we talked it out, but because we started from the same homogenized data.
Okay, that is sufficiently terrifying. We're losing our edge, we're copying our competitors, and our junior staff is forgetting how to brainstorm. Please tell me the paper offers a solution.
It does.
Or do we just go back to stone tablets?
No. And it's surprisingly practical. It starts with a simple mindset shift. Stop viewing AI as substitution and start seeing it as augmentation.
I feel like everyone says that, though. It's a tool, not a replacement. We hear that at every tech conference. But what does that actually look like on a Tuesday morning when I have a deadline?
It means you never see the AI as a solution provider. You see it as a draft generator or an option expander. But the paper goes deeper into actual work design interventions. The how-to.
Okay, hit me with the how-to. How do we break the hive mind?
First one is parallel generation. This is simple, but really effective. You have subteams develop ideas without AI first.
So you force them to use their brains before they touch the keyboard.
Yes, you preserve that human seed of diversity. Once you have those human ideas, those jagged, weird, imperfect thoughts, then you bring in the AI to expand on them.
So you're not letting the AI anchor the conversation. You set the anchor, and then you let the AI swim around it.
Exactly. Then there's something they call the sandwich method.
I love a good sandwich. What's in this one?
The bottom slice of bread is human brainstorming. You use old-school techniques like scamper or lateral thinking. You force the divergence manually.
Okay.
Then the meat in the middle is AI efficiency. You use the tool to flesh out those specific weird ideas you just came up with. And the top slice is human synthesis.
So the human has to start it and finish it. The AI is just the filling in the middle.
And that top slice, the synthesis, is absolutely key. You can't just copy-paste the middle part. Another technique they mention is analogical reasoning.
Analogical reasoning.
Explicitly asking teams and the AI to look for solutions in distant industries.
Right, because the AI tends to focus on proximate or obvious patterns.
Exactly. If you ask for a retail strategy, it looks at other retail companies. It gives you what everyone else is doing. You have to force it to look at biology or architecture or 17th century military strategy to break that pattern.
You have to prompt it to look where it naturally wouldn't.
Exactly.
The paper also talked about new roles, which I thought was fascinating. I really liked the sound of the synthesis lead.
This is a great idea. We usually just talk about prompt engineers or creators, but a synthesis lead is a new role responsible specifically for taking the AI options and the human expertise and combining them. And here's the kicker. They get paid to find what the AI missed.
I love that.
Yeah.
Your job isn't to run the prompt. Your job is to beat the prompt.
Precisely. And the curator-creator, shifting content roles from just writing, which the AI is good at, to evaluating and synthesizing. And finally, prompt engineering for diversity.
So this isn't just write me a better email prompting.
No. This is training people to structure queries that force the AI away from the average, like explicitly asking for controversial viewpoints or asking, what is the counterintuitive approach here?
Or give me the answer that is least likely to be generated by a standard model.
That's clever. You're using the AI's own understanding of probability against itself. Tell me what isn't probable.
Right.
But, and there's always a but.
Here we go.
You can have the mindset, the workflows, the new roles, but how do we make sure people actually do this? When it's 5 p.m. and the deck is due, the temptation to just click generate and accept the river of transformation is huge.
Oh, it's so easy. It's the path of least resistance.
And humans love that path. That's where governance comes in. You need to build a protective distinctiveness infrastructure.
That sounds fancy. But I'm assuming it just means rules.
It's rules that force friction.
Yeah.
For example, the Devil's Advocate Protocol.
Is that what it sounds like?
Yes. Mandating that for every major AI recommendation, a human or a specifically prompted separate AI must generate a counter-argument. You are not allowed to accept the recommendation without seeing the rebuttal.
That stops the sleepwalking. You have to actively defend the choice. I like that.
Then there's the Strategic Options Charter. This is a rule where you cannot select an AI recommendation unless you have documented at least 3 genuinely different alternatives.
And genuinely is the key word there. Not just river of transformation versus stream of change.
Exactly. Real conceptual difference. Another governance tactic is managing the AI portfolio. Simply put, don't let the whole company use just one model.
Spread the risk.
Yes. Use open source models alongside commercial ones. Your GPTs, your Claudes, they are often heavily aligned for safety and consensus. Open source models might have different training data, less alignment. Mixing them forces different perspectives into the process.
It's like having a diverse team of people. You want the wild card in the room. You don't want a room full of Ivy League grads who all took the same classes.
And finally, preserving tribal knowledge.
This one felt very cultural to me.
It is. The paper suggests creating design philosophy codexes or internal wikis that document your company's specific way of thinking, what makes your brand voice unique, what are your non-negotiables.
So actually writing down what makes us.
And then using that data to fine-tune local models. This is technically easier than it used to be. You take a base model and you train it further on your company's history, your emails, your successful projects.
So the AI starts to sound like you, not like the generic internet.
Exactly. If you don't feed the AI your own culture, it will just feed you back the average culture of the world. It's about fighting entropy. The internet wants to pull everything to the average. Your job is to pull it back to what's specific to you.
So what does this all mean for the listener right now? We've covered the mechanics of the hive mind, the risks, and the ways to redesign work.
I think the summary is this. AI homogenization is an invisible tax on creativity. We are getting speed and fluency, which feels great. It feels like productivity. But the cost is distinctiveness.
And distinctiveness is the only thing that matters in a crowded market.
The easy answer is the one everyone has. If it was easy for you to get, it was easy for them to get. The organizations that win in the next decade won't be the ones that use AI the most. They will be the ones that figure out how to stay weird while using it.
Staying weird, I like that as a business strategy.
It's the ultimate competitive advantage now. In a world of infinite vanilla, be the pistachio.
So here's a final thought for you to mull over as you head back to work. And it's a bit of a challenge.
If you removed your logo from your latest strategy deck or your latest marketing campaign, would a customer be able to tell it was yours?
Oof.
Or does it just look like good AI?
That is a tough question to answer, honestly.
It might be the only question that matters.
That's it for this deep dive into the artificial hive mind. Thanks for listening, and stay weird out there.
With so many options, why choose Arizona State University?
For me, the only online option was ASU because of the quality. Their faculty was really involved with their students and care about your personal journey. The dedication to my personal development from my professors, that's been extremely valuable to me.
Earn your degree from the nation's most innovative university. Online. That's a degree better. Explore more than 350 plus undergraduate, graduate, and certificate programs at asuonline.asu.edu.